Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us on this amazing winter day. If you haven't looked out your window yet, I urge you to do so because it is simply amazing. And to truly experience it, you have to be in the moment. You can't look in the future and think about, oh, I'm going to have to shovel that snow or, oh, I'm going to drive in that snow. But just right here, right now, just experience Mother Nature's gift. It feels like peace and love floating down from the sky. It's pretty amazing. I hope you were able to join us this morning early enough to listen to the announcements. And one of them, we're starting something new for this month, Wednesday lunch bunch. So if you're feeling a little isolated or just want to get together with some folks, you can get together Wednesday at noon, from noon to 1, and share your lunch with some other folks. And you can find the link and more information about that in our e-newsletter. So, welcome to this congregation where we seek to foster community, to grow our spirits, to serve others, and to work for justice. We're glad that you've joined us this morning in our sacred cyberspace and hope you will experience love, acceptance, and some inspiration. After the service, please join us for our Zoom coffee hour. Our monthly touchstone theme for the month of February is mercy, and our monthly themes strive to help us shape our days and guide our journeys. The prophet Micah counseled us to act justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with our God. These qualities are universal and transformative. Justice and humility are important, but it is the love of mercy that is crucial. To love mercy is to understand how very important it is in human relations. Mercy is a grace because it is not deserved. It allows a person to return to life with dignity. Our sermon today is from one of our favorite speakers, the Reverend Dr. Craig Rubano. The Reverend Dr. Rubano is co-minister of the UU congregation of Monmouth County in Lincroft, New Jersey. Craig has been guest ministering for us since 2011 while pursuing Masters of Divinity and Theology and a PhD in Pastoral Theology at Princeton Theological Seminary. He was ordained to the ministry in 2018 by the UU congregation of Princeton. Craig is a graduate of Yale and Columbia, and he lives at the summit of 10 Mile Run Mountain, just north of Princeton, where he has helped to raise 2 nieces and 2 Nigerian dwarf goats. The title of his sermon today is The Loving Kindness of Positive Emotions. In the Hebrew Bible, chesed is most often translated into English as mercy, the congregational theme for this month. Another frequent translation, however, is loving kindness, of which in these days in our country we could certainly use more of. This morning, we will be exploring how we might show a little more chesed to ourselves using the positive psychology insights of author Lucy Hone from her work on Resilient Grieving. Now, let us enter into worship together. This morning, our musical prelude that has been chosen for us by our awesome musician, Avi Wisnia, is an appropriate song, Come In From the Cold.
Coming from the cold the door from the hurt that makes you feel alone. Time for you to share that code you wrap around your life. Step into my arms, let me hold you close. I want to so. Coming from the rain, shake away all the tears you try to hide in vain. Tell me every fear that keeps you from this world so wide. Leave it all behind, stand by my side, and I'll share with you. I've been hurt just like you. I know how hard it is to give your love away, but baby, it's safe and warm. All I'm really asking of you is coming from the cold. Throw off all the memories that can bring you down. Love's the only way to heal a heart the world has wronged. 'Cause I've been hurt just like you. I know how hard it is to give your love away, but baby, it's safe and warm. All I'm really asking of you is coming from the cold. Coming from the cold. Coming from the cold.
Gil, I think we can't hear you.
Thank you for that. It's good because I flubbed it up anyway. My lovely and talented assistant, Sherry, will light our chalice, and please join us as we read our chalice words. During our darkest moments, still there is light. When facing our biggest challenges, still there is light. When all we can do is put one foot in front of the other, still there is light. When we can't see the way out, still there is light. When all we can do to help is hold someone's hand as they cry, still there is light. We are the light for ourselves and for one another. Always there is light. Our opening words this morning are from the Reverend Dr. Morris W. Hutchins. Mercy requires a belief in common humanity, admission of our shortcomings, reaching out to one another in love and compassion, and committing ourselves to acts of justice. Ruth Smeltzer has written, "You have not lived a perfect day unless you've done something for someone who will never be able to repay you." Our Director of Religious Exploration, Angela Connon, will share a beautiful little story for all ages.
Good morning, everybody. Today's service topic is about loving kindness, which made me think a lot about how important it is to forgive ourselves when things don't go the way we want them to, or how we had planned for them to go. I've also been thinking a lot about how February is Black History Month, and that an important way to celebrate that, I think this year especially, is by sharing some of the joy-filled, loving, creative, and brilliant contributions by Black authors and illustrators featuring Black characters. And so with that, I have a story for us today that I hope you'll like as much as I do. It's called Saturday, and it's by Oge Mora. Saturday. This morning, Ava and her mother were all smiles. It was Saturday because Ava's mother worked Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Saturday was the day they cherished. On Saturdays, they zipped to the library for weekly story time. On Saturdays, they lounged in salon chairs and got new hairdos. On Saturdays, they picnicked in the grass for a peaceful afternoon at the park. And on this Saturday, they would also ride the bus across town for a one-night-only puppet show. The day would be special. The day would be splendid. The day was Saturday. Ava and her mother could hardly wait. So zoom, off they went. But when they reached the library, story time was canceled. Oh no, Ava cried. It's canceled, wailed Ava's mother. They paused, closed their eyes, and let out a deep breath. Don't worry, Ava, her mother reassured her. Today will be special. Today will be splendid. Today is Saturday. So zoom, off they went. But as they left the salon, whoosh, their hairdos were ruined. Oh no, Ava sobbed. Our dues, boo-hooed Ava's mother. They paused, closed their eyes, and let out a deep breath. Don't worry, Ava, her mother reassured her. Today will be special. Today will be splendid. Today is Saturday. So, zoom, off they went. But their peaceful afternoon at the park was loud. Oh no, Ava groaned. What did you say? It's too noisy, yelled her mother. They paused, closed their eyes, and let out a deep breath. Don't worry, Ava, her mother reassured her. Today will be special. Today will be splendid. Today will be ruined if we miss that bus. So zoom to the extra special one-night-only puppet show they went. We made it, Ava exclaimed as they arrived at the theater. Thank goodness, Ava's mother sighed in relief. Hooray for Saturday, they cheered. Tickets, chirped the lady at the door. Ava's mother reached into her purse, but the tickets weren't there. Oh no, Ava's mother gasped. I left our tickets on the table. As Ava watched, her mother crumpled. I've had it, she sighed. Story time was canceled. Our hair was ruined. The park was loud, and now we're missing the puppet show. I'm sorry, Ava. We looked forward to this all week, and I've messed up everything. I ruined Saturday. Ava was quiet for a moment. Then she closed her eyes and let out a deep breath. Don't worry, Mommy, Ava reassured her. Today was special. Today was splendid. Saturdays are wonderful because I spend them with you. So slowly, hand in hand, off they went. But when they reached their apartment door, Ava turned to her mother. She had an idea. What if we, Ava started. You know, we could, her mother began. And so they did. They made their own puppet show. What a beautiful day. Well, that's it. That's Saturday. I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope if things go wrong for you this week, you will pause, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and adjust. Have a good one.
Thank you, Angela. It's a great story. And the lesson that I get from that story is you can't always depend on the things out here in this world for your happiness, because things can go wrong. But if you just rely on loving kindness, it's always a beautiful thing. And what a great segue into our interlude by Avi, one of our favorite hymns, filled with loving kindness.
May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be whole. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be whole. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be filled with loving kindness. May we be well. May we be peaceful and at ease. May we be whole.
Thank you, Avi. What a beautiful song. For our reading this morning, it gives me great pleasure to introduce the Reverend Dr. Craig Rubano.
Good morning. It is good to be with you again. I offer a reading, a poem by James Crews, Crews, Winter Morning. When I can no longer say thank you for this new day and the waking into it, for the cold scrape of the kitchen chair and the ticking of the space heater glowing orange as it warms the floor near my feet, I know it is because I've been fooled again by the selfish, unruly man who lives in me and believes he deserves only safety and comfort. But if I pause, as I do now, and watch the street lights outside winking off one by one like old men closing their cloudy eyes, if I listen to my tired neighbors slamming car doors hard against the morning and see the steaming coffee in their mugs kissing their chapped lips as they sip and exhale each of their worries white into the icy air around their faces, then I can remember this one life is a gift each of us was handed and told to open. Untie the bow and tear off the paper. Look inside and be grateful for whatever you find, even if it is only the scent of a tangerine that lingers on the fingers long after you've finished eating it.
Thank you, Craig. Some beautiful thoughts and images. We have a new month and a new cause to share our money with our Split Plate Offertory. This month, our awesome We Care Committee has designated that funds should go toward climate change efforts. It was determined the best place to send donations is the Coalition for Rainforest Nations, an intergovernmental organization of over 50 rainforest nations around the world, from Ecuador to Bangladesh to Fiji. Their mission is simply to protect the rainforest. This coalition were participants in the formation of the section on forestry in the Paris Agreement. Every 12 cents donated will avert approximately 1 metric ton of carbon dioxide. Money well spent. Please be generous. You can give by clicking the link provided in Zoom chat and the e-newsletter, or by mailing a check to UUFLB. If you do write a check, please put on your check memo line, Split Plate. We only have one planet, so please give with your heart. Now for our sermon, Reverend Rubano.
On even the best of days, I do not open my eyes in the morning ready to meet the day. My first impulse is often to groan and check the clock to see if I can get away with staying under the covers a bit longer. And then I strategize how I am going to get from the bed to my robe to wrap myself up against the chill of the early hour. Even with a big cup of coffee steaming underneath my face and the blinds pulled up to greet the world, I typically am only approaching believing I can pull off another day. But I have to say, lately, even after my coffee infusion, I have been tempted to get right back into bed. For starters, I haven't been sleeping as well. But also, there is a pandemic cloud over things that makes even simple tasks hard work. It turns out I'm not the only one. According to the Dana Foundation for Neuroscience and Brain Research, in record numbers, Americans are anxious, worried, sleep deprived, distracted, and depressed. In a May Kaiser Family Foundation health tracking survey, 39% said worry and stress related to coronavirus had a negative impact on their mental health. In December, it had gone up to 51%. And of course, it's now February. This should not surprise. Stress, after all, is the effect of the brain's failed attempts to resolve uncertainty. NYU developmental neuroscientist Mariah Thompson describes stress as bioenergetically expensive. The more uncertainty, the harder the brain has to work, and energy resources are siphoned away from the rest of the body, resulting in fatigue, sleep disruption, and fluctuations in energy levels. And even in calm times, our brains use up 20% of our body's overall metabolic energy. Moreover, ongoing stress results in our systems being flooded with cortisol, activating our fight or flight autonomic systems. So we spend less time thinking and more time in reptile brain reactivity, impulsive and irritable. I say all of this because it is instructive to remind ourselves that it is no wonder we feel how we feel, that the effects are to be expected. In 2021, with disease, economic pressure, racial inequity, climate disorder, and political party fatigue, we are experiencing a sense of deep loss. And that doesn't even touch the fact that in this context, so many of us have experienced the death of a loved one, many times without the dignity of having been able to be with them at the end, prevented from holding funeral services where we might have taken comfort in the arms of family and friends. So today, as we enter February with mercy as the monthly congregational theme, I looked up the biblical context origins of the word. In the Hebrew Bible, chesed is the word often translated into English as mercy. Another frequent translation of the same word, however, is loving kindness. So while mercy is most often thought of as outwardly directed, something we grant to another, loving kindness has outward as well as inward implications. This morning I will be exploring how we might show a little more chesed to ourselves. I sense that we are all in a state of some grief, if only for the lives we had pre-pandemic, and often for extreme loss. Of course, there is no right way to experience or to move through a grieving process, but there might be skills to bolster our resilience. Not to avoid experiencing pain, but to move through feelings associated with loss while enhancing our ability to adapt, to recover, and to grow. My resource in this is a book by psychologist Lucy Hone, H-O-N-E, on what she calls resilient grieving. The impetus for whose writing came tragically in the aftermath of a car accident that took her teenage daughter. So her writing is infused with a lived-in practice. Hone realized that given the burdens on our systems in time of loss and stress, where we focus our limited attention is key. And that even in grieving, there are choices we can make. She noticed that books and websites about grief and mourning feature plenty of information about negative emotions, how important it is to feel them, not to repress them, and how fundamental they are to grief, but that what the traditional bereavement research fails to explain is the transformative power in all stages and aspects of our life, and especially while we are grieving, of positive emotions. All emotions are evolutionarily vital for human survival. We are able to engage them precisely because they have been adaptive. They help us to change. But positive emotions in particular expand our outlook by providing a wider palette of solutions for problems that befall us. And over time, positive emotions enable us to build up resources, social, intellectual, psychological, physical, to which we can turn in times of loss, loosening the grip on us that negative emotions can have. As Hone summarizes, positive emotions do more than just feel good. They actually do good. The loving kindness of positive emotions reminds us of the gift of this one life we are given to inhabit. It was thought that experiencing positive emotions in times of loss was a sign of denial, denial being one of Elizabeth Kubler-Ross's stages of grief. Instead, more recently, in study after study, it has been shown that resilient people, people who have the ability to bounce back from adverse circumstances, report greater responsiveness to positive emotions and greater engagement of those emotions in the midst of the grieving process. Hone urges us to reconceive our notions of grief stages in favor of an oscillation model, a moving back and forth among negative and positive emotional states existing in cooperation. The inclusion of both, in fact, strengthens our resilient grieving. What's tricky is that negative emotions linger in our memories far more saliently and longer than do positive. So the occurrence of the latter can go unnoticed. We have to train ourselves to recognize them as they occur, even in the midst of despair, to take notice of the circumstances that sparked them. We want to be in the business of actively seeking out positive emotions, registering them as we engage them, and remembering ways to activate them when we want to feel them again. Hone suggests actually writing down a list of our commonly felt positive emotions, and for each one, making a note of where and when we experienced them last, a kind of diary of positivity to serve us when access to those emotions feels like a hard climb. Then we can cycle through the emotions on our list and add them back in to the diet of our feelings, reaping the positive benefits, even during the very important work of grieving our losses. As I voice the 9 emotions Hone encourages, maybe write them down, adding some notes on where and how you felt them last. If nothing else, you can relive the memories of those positive experiences when you are laid low. And optimally, you will learn to create new incidences for positive emotions to be felt again. Curiosity. When have you looked into something new, sought the experiences of others different from yourself? About what would you like to know more? Who encouraged you to follow your curious spirit? Pride. When has your chest swelled over the achievements of others, your kids, your parents, your friends, pride in your local community, pride in your congregation maybe? What in your own life makes you proud? Who has been proud of you? Awe. The experience of wondrous largeness of the earth, the sky, the scent of tangerine. Being wowed by beauty, splendor, intricacy, unfathomable majesty, transfixing otherness. Where can you go? Where have you gone? And with whom? to experience an awe that broadens you and builds you up. Hope. Hope can exist even in the wake of the worst kinds of devastation, if we pay attention to its emergence. Sometimes it may only be a hope for a larger sense of hope, but hope strengthens our determination. The next time you are feeling hopeless, ask yourself when the last time was that you felt even a bit more hopeful. How did you do it then? You can do it again. Inspiration. Role models, stories of others, parents or other relatives, teachers, ancestors. Who has inspired you? What stories of perseverance have literally given you breath? Let them inspire your celebration and service. Gratitude. Gratitude keeps us tethered to what we have rather than to what we haven't. Our health, the patience and attentiveness of others toward us, a phone call or message that comes at just the right time. Keeping in touch with sources of our gratitude gives us a positive context for even our deepest grief. Serenity, peace and quiet, stillness, concentrating on the breath, putting in our earbuds and losing ourselves in music, the calm of a morning walk, singing alone under the streetlights. Where do you go for serenity? Humor. Who has not known the power of a small laugh even in the midst of commemorating the loss of a loved one? Humor is a bonding agent among people, and it is good for our health. The act itself of smiling introduces hormonal changes in our bodies that distance us from distress. What are your go-to laugh out loud shows? Whose faces come to your mind as you smile? The final positive emotion on Hohn's list is love. Grief is at bottom a symptom of love, for it is the love we have that underlies the sense of loss we feel. We grieve what we love. Love's adaptive power reconnects us with sustenance in those times when we feel overwhelmed. Who have you loved? Who has loved you? Where does love emerge in your life right now? Curiosity, pride, awe, hope, inspiration, gratitude, serenity, humor, and love. While these are the positive emotions that Lucy Hohn found useful and life-giving as she navigated forward from devastating loss, certainly other positive emotions may come to mind. The important things are for them to come to our minds, for us to remember when and where we experienced them, to retrieve beloved memories from the past, and to know how we can get back to experiencing positive emotions more regularly. We have a way to go in our current confluence of crises, and there is loss and grief to come. I know the day will arrive when we can be together in person, but I don't know when. heading into the 12th month of living alone during COVID, I am seriously hug deprived. But I am going to use Hone's list and see if, after I finish my coffee, but before I succumb to daily uncertainty, I might tap in to the positive emotions that can sustain me, can save me, can comfort me, so that I might continue to embrace their healing power in my life and grant myself the kind of merciful, loving kindness that can give me resilience for what's yet to come. I pray that it might be so for you too. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Craig, for those inspiring words of wisdom. Truly, these are stressful times, and stress is just another word for fear. And the only way to vanquish that fear is with love. And thank goodness, every moment of our lives, every breath that we take, we can choose love over fear. It's a beautiful thing. Now is the time in our service when we recognize and lift up one another in love. Let us be fully present and listen with open hearts. If you wish to share something now, click on Participants and then click Raise Hand, and we will help you unmute. For everyone's benefit, please be brief. I will start things out with a sorrow. I was visiting Sonia Claiborne yesterday, and she is still in a lot of pain. She's still trying to make a transition. So I would ask that you send some loving kindness her way and keep her in your prayers and in your heart.
I don't see any hands.
I don't see anyone raising their hand, at least not electronically. So I guess we'll move on. Whether or not you shared today, for your joys, we in this community join you in celebration. For any sorrows or concerns, you may feel our sympathy and compassion. Let us pause for just a moment of gratitude, silent meditation, and prayer. Our closing song will be another hymn, For All That Is Our Life.
For all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own days glad. For needs which others serve, for services we give, for work and its rewards, for hours of rest and love, we come with praise and thanks. For all that is our life, for sorrow we must bear, for failures, pain, and loss, for each new thing we learn, for fearful hours that pass, we come with praise and thanks. For all that is our life, for all that is our life, we sing our
Thank you, Avi. That was really beautiful. As Sherry extinguished our chalice, please feel free to join me in our closing words. It is our work shared with each other in covenant that creates and sustains this beloved community. We extinguish this chalice, but its light lives on in the directions we have chosen today. The light of this faith lives on in us together, in our hearts, minds, bodies, and spirits. Amen, and blessed be. Our service is concluded. Let us continue in fellowship with our Zoom coffee hour. You can put it in gallery view now so we can see each other's shining faces.